Welcome back to the Barrel Zone. Final day of the first half of the season. We have a nice little 9 game slate to dive into. Couple of notes before we start. So the league will be off for a full week from today. They have 2 games scheduled for next Wednesday, but the first real slate will be on next Thursday. So that's when I will be back. So a full week off for me. Yay. Another thing, Restream, the platform I'm using for streaming, just pushed out an audio update that screwed up my mic settings. So if anything is iffy with the audio, I'm sorry. I will fix it for next week for sure. But now we will roll with this. And kind of that's about it. We will dive into these games. I will be quicker than usual. This is the final game before the huge break and the only big break in the season. I don't think this is the best time to bet, but yeah. So I have been skipping some games really when it comes to handicapping them. I will tell you why. But I think there are still some nice spots. So we will get right into it. First game on the board, Toronto Raptors at the Boston Celtics. Line right now is Boston laying 8.5 on Bet365, 7.5 at a couple of other shops. I'm closer to 6.5 here, 6.5 to 7. So I think 8.5 is a bit too much. But I mean, you cannot really trust the Raptors at this point. So they are on a back-to-back. They did play last night. They are without Siakam, Fred VanVleet, and OG Anunoby. The Celtics are without Smart. I think the matchup is great for the Celtics. They have already beaten the Raptors twice, both times by double digits this season. The matchup is great for them. I always say with the Raptors, if you can defend the deep shots well, you have a nice shot at beating them. And the Celtics allow the 7th lowest field goal percentage from downtown. Also, Boston is 4th in offensive rebounding, while the Raptors are the 3rd worst in defensive rebounding. Boston is drawing like league average rate of free throws, but the Raptors give up the most in the whole league. So everything is really going Boston's way, and yeah, I think the line kind of reflects that, and they won both games, as I said, by double digits. Last night, the starters were Davis, Lowry, Watanabe Powell, and Baines. I think it's a pretty ugly roster right now. I'm kind of expecting the same. We don't expect the guys to be back from the COVID list. So Siakam, Fred VanVleet, and OG Anunoby won't play. As I said, I think you have to pay a bit of a premium to back the Celtics here. I'm not willing to do that ever, and especially not on the final day before the break when players might not be fully motivated to cover a spread if they even know what the spread is. All right, LA Clippers at the Washington Wizards. Kawhi Leonard is questionable. That means he's out when it comes to this time in the year, and the way how the Clippers have been handling this stuff, I think he's out like 80-90% of the time. I don't really give a huge chance for him playing here. Morris is also doubtful. I think the Wizards are likely value at the current line. I'm closer to 4.5 if Kawhi intends to really sit this one out. Current line is 5.5. That's not like a fully Kawhi out line, in my opinion, but I couldn't touch the Wizards here. These two already met. The Clippers closed the -12 at home. But now, back then, the Wizards were on back-to-back, and obviously we have to flip the home courts right now. So yeah, you can get to a line around 8, and that would be my line if Kawhi was in. So yeah, we still get a sizable discount here to back the Clippers, but I still don't believe that this is the right line. But I couldn't look at the Wizards here. So yeah, the Clippers won the first game by 1,000,000 points, covering the 12. But if you look at the matchup, you know why. So they are top five, close to top five in offensive rebounding. Wizards are the eighth worst in defensive rebounding. Clippers 11th in free throw rate. Wizards give up the third most in the league. Over, if you look at just the overall offensive numbers, points per possession, effective field goal percentage, Clippers grade top three in both. Wizards grade bottom five in both. Yes, they have been playing a bit better lately, but they are still grading around league average, which is amazing for them. I must add, but they aren't getting too many points here, so it's not like we are talking about a double-digit dog or something like that. Wizards, I'm always praising them for being amazing at drawing the free throws, but especially lately, they have been doing a great job of selling some junk to the refs. But the Clippers are really great at not giving those bad fouls up. I think they will be able to handle the Wizards here. I would only look at the Clippers or bust. My advice would be wait for Kawhi's status. He will be announced out. And if you want to bag the Clippers, which I would probably want to do, I would jump on them after he is announced out. If you are up and watching the game, no way I could bet the Wizards here. Everything sets up well for the Clippers. Even without Kawhi, they should get the W here, in my opinion. All right. Next game, I have a lean slash almost bet here. New York Knicks link only 4.5, although it's juiced at Bet365. Basically, you can find fives out there on almost all books. The Detroit Pistons played last night. They are super banged up. They still don't have Wright and Jackson, who has been a pretty important piece for them. He's also out. And Grant didn't play last night. I did talk about this or write about this yesterday. He's the most crucial piece for this team. He has been carrying them through the entire season. It's likely that he just set out because of this being a back-to-back, but he haven't sit too many back-to-backs out, or I think that he didn't even set one out. I cannot really recall it. So yeah, for now, I think he can consider questionable. And if he is questionable, I think this 4.5 to 5 is a good bet with the Knicks. Especially as they are likely to get Rose back. He didn't play in the last game. He had an inconclusive COVID test, but since then he tested negative like 4 times. So he should be eligible to come back tonight, which is important as Peyton is out, obviously, and Rose has been performing really well with the more minutes he is getting right now. So yeah, I could only look at the Knicks here, and I think the line minus 4.5 to 5 represents a line with Grant in. So while we have a shot of him sitting, I think this is a coin flip at the worst case. But if Grant sits out, this is an amazing line you are getting right now. Pistons are just 3-15 on the road, the worst road team in the league. I didn't pull up their back-to-back record, but it's also pretty bad. So yeah, they got a W last night, but overall they are just 25th in points per possession and 28th in effective field goal percentage offensively. Knicks grade as the third best defense in points per possession, and they allow the lowest effective field goal percentage. Knicks also have the better all-around rebounding on both sides of the ball, the better turnover rate. And the good thing is, I'm always saying that the Pistons are doing basically nothing, just attacking the rim like at an extremely high pace. So one of those teams that barely does anything well, but they kind of know how to get close to the basket and get the easy buckets. Knicks allow the third lowest field goal percentage in the paint, which is extremely important in this matchup. On the other end, Knicks eighth highest rate of mid-range jumpers shot. Pistons allow the fourth highest field goal percentage on these. Overall, I think the matchup is great. The spot is great. Rose likely black. Grant, I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50 on him. He might get this day off again just to have like a 10 total days to recover. He had an insane load and has been carrying this terrible team through the season. And basically, most of their victories is due to him having a great season so far. So yeah, Knicks, I think at 5 it's a fair bet. We might see 4.5, but I don't think so. I think we will see a 5 if Grant is out. This will go to like 6.5, maybe 7. But I like it a lot. Maybe you can wait for Pinnacle and get a reduced juice 5. I think that would be the smartest way to attack this game. Denver Nuggets at the Indiana Pacers. This is a game I'm skipping, more than likely. Nuggets still without Millsap, Harris, and Green. That's a sizable downgrade for them. They are playing their third game in 4 nights. On the other end, the Pacers are playing a back-to-back third game in 4 nights. And the biggest issue, I would be kind of all over the Pacers here. Getting relatively a lot of points at home, 4.5. There are also 5s out on Bet Online. I think that's the look. So yeah, but Sabonis has been questionable in last night's game, and he played 38 minutes. I'm kind of guessing he will skip this game today. So I'm expecting Sabonis to be out, and if he's out, my number is 5.5. If he's in, I'm closer to 3.5. So I think this current line that's in between these two numbers, between 3.5 and 5.5, is perfectly okay. Nuggets have been super hot as of late. They grade as a second best offense in the league, plus 10.5 point differential on average, plus 7.1 ATS in the last 2 weeks on average. They won 3 straight, beat the Milwaukee Bucks. They won 4 out of 5, but I think they are kind of on a roll right now. And the matchup for them looks pretty decent. They are 8th in offensive and 12th in defensive rebounding, while the Pacers grade 23rd in both. So this is a bad rebounding team. I'm always bashing the Pacers because of this, and they're also in a bad spot overall. This is the first game home for them of a 4-game road trip. They almost went 0-4. They came back in the second half yesterday. I think they were down by like 10 against the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first half. That would have been an embarrassing loss to add to their resume and to close the road trip in 0-4. So yeah, they aren't playing good basketball right now, and they are likely out-rebounded here. But still, I have to give them credit. They grade as the 11th best defense, both in points per possession and effective field goal percentage, and they face a tough schedule. And obviously, they don't have Levert, who was the return in the Oladipo trade. So we could say that they kind of got screwed in that trade as of right now, obviously. So yeah, they also Pacers match up well defensively here. Nuggets are more of a mid-range jumper shooting teams, some threes, but they are in a high percentage shooting mid-range jumpers. Pacers allowing a bottom 10 field goal percentage there. And the biggest reason why I'm looking at the Pacers, this angle have been working pretty well. It didn't come through in the last game when we were backing the Bucks against the Nuggets, but it usually comes through. So the Denver Nuggets are allowing the highest field goal percentage within 4 feet of the rim. Even Murray talked about it, that they don't have anyone to stop guys getting to the rim. They allow a 70% field goal percentage from within 4 feet of the rim. And the Indiana Pacers attack the rim at the highest pace in the entire league. 33% of all their shots is coming from 4 feet within the rim, where the Denver Nuggets allow the highest field goal percentage. So yeah, it's tough to back a team on a back-to-back after a road trip. That's likely out-rebounded. But if Sabonis is in and we can still get a 5.5, 5.5, I would look at them. I make it Denver minus 3.5 if Sabonis is in. Even, they are laying points on the road, and they are still playing their third game in 4 nights. So it's not like a huge mismatch when it comes to the rest situation. So yeah, I would need Sabonis in. If he's out, I'm not touching the game. But this game is one I'm looking at, and it's Pacers or bust for me. Nuggets have been super hot. They have just beaten the Bucks. You won't find value on a team that has just beaten the Bucks, and they are rolling hot right now, while the Pacers are on a losing streak and a back-to-back. So this is really a buy low spot on them. And as I said, the Denver paint defense is just terrible. Next game, Milwaukee Bucks at the Memphis Grizzlies. Interesting game, interesting line. So 6 is the market number, but Pinnacle is laying a 5.5. So Pinnacle is more on the side of the Memphis Grizzlies. This was kind of a bit more shady towards Memphis, so we were almost going to a 5 here. Usually Pinnacle is way smarter than the other books, so them leaning towards Memphis means something. But I could only look at the Bucks here, to be honest. Um, my line here is between 6 and 6.5. So if this gets to 5, I'm going to bet the Bucks. I don't think we get there. I think the Bucks still have tons of market support, even if they have been less impressive through the last 2 weeks. They went 5-2, but only with the plus 3 point differential. They grade ninth offensively, 17th defensively. So this wasn't a good 2 week period for them. They played terrible against the Nuggets. I just watched that game. It was it was embarrassing, really. On the other end, the Memphis Grizzlies, we know what they bring. They are a bottom 10 offense, but one of the better defenses in the league. Through the season, they grade as the seventh best defense, and through the last 2 weeks, they grade as the best defense in the league, only allowing 104 points per 100 possessions, which is amazing. They have a plus 6 point differential. But if you look at who they beat, I mean, they beat the Wizards, who aren't as bad right now, but they are still kind of bad, and they beat Houston recently. That's a game where you have to get a blowout W and just boost and pad your stats. Overall, equal rebounding, but the 3 point defense for the Memphis Grizzlies is one of their weaknesses. They allow the fifth highest field goal percentage from three, which is pretty bad against the Bucks, who have the fourth highest field goal percentage and put up the 10th most shots from downtown. So I think that's a decent overall matchup for the Bucks. They are fully healthy at home, no back-to-backs. Final game of the season. So yeah, I really like overall the matchup for the Bucks, but the Pinnacle lean towards Memphis is something that worries me. Still, I cannot get to a 5. So if this gets to 5, I will be forced to back the Bucks here. Sorry, they are on the road. I screwed that one up. Doesn't matter, but yeah, so I cap it still minus 6.5 on the road. Memphis is extremely up and down, so you cannot really trust them. I'm not sure. I mean, I think I could trust the Bucks more in a situation like this. They are always known for playing pretty consistent regular season basketball, and I don't think they will be affected that much by this being the last game of the first half of the season. Miami Heat at the New Orleans Pelicans. This is a game that we are skipping. Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler are both questionable for the Miami Heat. That's a 7 to 8 point swing to the spread, which is huge. There is no point in breaking down a game when there is so many questionables. Current line is Miami plus 3.5. I think that's kind of fair, but might not be enough. Pelicans, third game in 4 nights back to back, so they don't have an injury report out. So they also might have guys missing the game. Yeah, I'm not really going deep into this game, as really there is no point. I think Bam and Butler will both sit this game out. If everyone plays for the Pelicans, I think them being a short favorite at home, 3-4 points, that's perfectly fair. I mean, Miami is extremely top heavy. Yeah, they have some nice guys, but without Bam and Butler, I don't think they are well equipped to handle this Pelicans team. And I'm super low on the Pelicans. They are an average team, but they are the first in offensive and fourth in defensive rebounding against one of the worst rebounding teams in the league. If you look at the teams who are really like good teams, like above league average, out of them, by far the Heat are the worst rebounding team, and that's bad going up against the best rebounding team in the league. So yeah, it's really a stay away game from me. If Bam and Butler play, obviously, and you can catch any kind of plus number with the Heat, that's amazing. But yeah, I don't think they will play. This will be a rest day for them. Another game that we are skipping, or we can maybe two in a row. Oklahoma City Thunder at the San Antonio Spurs. Spurs without Gay, Russell, and White, and Aldridge is questionable. I'm 90% sure he will be out again. OKC on a back-to-back. They played last night. Horford likely out. He never plays on back-to-backs. Why would he play on the final back-to-back of the first half of the season? Uh, Overall, Spurs are very well equipped to slow down OKC, who are just 29th in points per possession, dead last in offensive rebounding, and 28th in free throw rate. Spurs grade 5th, 11th, and second in these categories. So Spurs offense on the OKC defense, I think, is pretty balanced. Both are like okay, but not great. But I mean, I expect the Spurs to be able to shut down this even in a banged up form, this OKC team. My line here is around Spurs minus 4.5. We see 5.5s right now. Spurs are also playing their third game in 4 nights, and as I said, the roster is now super short. Although they got the key guy back in Keldon Johnson, who has been playing amazing. So yeah, I cannot play this many points with the banged up Spurs squad, and I cannot back OKC really on a back-to-back in a tough matchup against a great defensive team. Next game, Portland hosting the Sacramento Kings. Line is Portland minus 4.5, heavily juiced. My line is exactly between 4.5 and 5. This is the game you must skip. Both teams are on a back-to-back. Both teams played heavy minutes last night. Lillard played like 36, Gary Trent Jr. 40, Covington 38. On the other side, Barnes played 38 minutes, Buddy 42, Fox 36. Buddy Hield was questionable last night, and he ended up playing 42 minutes. So I'm not expecting him to play tonight at all. There is no way you play through an ankle sprain and you play 42 minutes and you will be playing on the tail end of a back-to-back on the final day of the first half. Halliburton was out for the Kings, and Whiteside also. I don't think they will play. I think overall this is Portland or bust. I'm expecting everyone to play for Portland. If that is the case, this can go out to like maybe my Portland minus 6, or I mean, if Buddy Hield is sitting out 6.5, 7 even. But both of these teams have been in the bottom 3 of the league defensively, not just through the entire season, but through the last months, through the last 2 weeks also. They have like a minus 6 to 8 point differential, minus 7 both against the spread. Untrustworthy teams with zero defense on a back-to-back on the final game of the season with so many injuries, high minutes played last night. It's a game to skip, but I'm leaning towards Portland. I think with Hield out and Halliburton out, that's too much. And the Blazers have been playing pretty decent, even with all their injuries. And I think they are better equipped. They have, I mean, the coaching for the Kings. I'm not going to say anything bad, but it's not really good. They are better equipped to get an easy W at home on the final game of the first half of the season. Phoenix Suns hosting the Golden State Warriors. This is a spot where I like the Suns. Golden State also had a game last night. Curry played 36, Wiggins 37, Green 36 minutes. Oubre was out. He had some kind of injury in training. I didn't really look into it, but I would be kind of surprised if they would force him to play here after sitting last night out. But even if he plays, I'm closer to Phoenix minus 6 here than anything else. And while Bet365 is basically at 6, you can still find 5s out there. At 5.5, I think the Suns are a great look. They have been one of the hottest teams lately. They went 6-1 in the last 2 weeks. They had some nice W's, plus 17.5 point differential on average. They grade as the best offense in the league in points per possession and the 4th best defense. It's pretty amazing. Rebounding did get better. I'm always bashing them for being bad at rebounding, but it's consistently getting better. Warriors are the worst rebounding team in the entire league. They are second worst in offensive and third worst in defensive rebounding. Overall, they are the worst rebounding team. Phoenix mostly loses games where they are out rebounded heavily. That won't happen here for sure. Golden State's offense is just 22nd in points per possession, 15th in effective field goal percentage. Phoenix is top 5 in both stats, and they allow the fourth lowest number of threes and the third lowest field goal percentage from downtown, which is obviously extremely important against a team having a few sharp shooters. Oubre out. If he is out, I think it hurts them really bad. They don't really have any scorers. He has been hot lately. So yeah, Curry will have to carry the load on his own. Phoenix offense matches up really well against Golden State. So yeah, this is one game I'm looking at. It's not on Pinnacle yet, but I think you will be able to grab a 5.5, most likely 5.5. At 6, I wouldn't bet, but even at 5.5, I think with the shot of Oubre having to sit this one out. So my line is 6 with Oubre in. So with him out, he's probably moving the line at least half a point, maybe 1 point. So yeah. All right. Summing it up, as I said, be cautious. Maybe even play like less than your normal unit size. Final day is always crazy. If you take the day off, I think that's also pretty smart. So what sides I like? I like the Clippers a bit. I think 5.5 is a bit too much, but I don't expect Kawhi to play, so this should come down a bit maybe. If this hits like a 4, which would be a super good deal, even if they are on the road. I would look at the Clippers. I will update about this game in the Discord if you are in there. I like the New York Knicks. 5 is a fair number, in my opinion, if Grant plays for Detroit. But if he sits out, that's not enough. So in the worst case, you are flipping a coin if you are sitting on Knicks -5 right now. I think you should do that. I like the Milwaukee Bucks at 5.5. This could get to 5, in my opinion. And then I like the Golden Phoenix Suns laying just 5.5, maybe even at 6. If Oubre is announced out and you can jump on a 6 on Pinnacle, then that's a fair bet. So yeah, Knicks, Bucks, and Suns. That's it for me. Basically, I'm looking at the Clippers, but I would be surprised if we get a good deal here. So this is it for the first half of the season. Thanks for tuning in. I will be back in exactly a week. So we have 2 games next Tuesday. I won't be streaming then. Next Wednesday. I won't be streaming then. And I will be back on Thursday where we have the first full card of the second half of the entire second half. What? All right. Yeah, it has been an overwhelming few months. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you guys in a week. Enjoy the weekend. All-Star game should be a lot of fun.